Now I'm honored to introduce Tarrant County Judge Glen Whitley. Judge Whitley presides over the Tarrant County Commissioners Court and is a regional leader in transportation, sustainable communities, efficiently run government, air quality, support for veterans and military families, and youth and children's issues. Judge Whitley, you're a busy man. Judge Whitley graduated from Grand Prairie High School, earned an accounting degree from the University of Texas at Arlington, and then served in the U.S. Naval Reserve. In 1983, he co-founded the accounting firm of Whitley Penn, which has offices in Fort Worth, Dallas, and Houston. He was elected a Tarrant County Commissioner in 1996 and Tarrant County Judge in 2006. Everyone, please welcome Judge Glen Whitley and our Chamber Chairman, D. Kelly, Jr., to the stage for a conversation. Gentlemen.
Well, maybe I need to, you're going to turn this one on, and then when I go over there and sit down, you'll turn that one on. Gotcha. Okay. Just a couple of kind of housekeeping before I get over there. You hadn't started the 10 minutes down here. This is the Betsy clock down here is what they told me. I do want to introduce just a few people, and these are folks who are my partners at the county, and they really take care of me and try to keep me out of trouble. Our senior member of our Commissioners Court, J.D. Johnson. J.D. Another commissioner, the one who took my place when I became judge, is Gary Fickus. The one who you're going to be getting love notes from fairly soon, Ron Wright, our tax assessor collector. New district attorney, Sharon Wilson. And our county clerk, Mary Louise Garcia. Also the one who tries to keep all of us out of trouble, G.K. Manius, our county administrator. And then my staff is here, and so I would like for them to stand for just a moment. There they are right there. I see at least 3 of them. 4 of them. There's another one over there. There's another one over there. I knew I was missing, Neil. I always have a hard time finding you. And then, of course, my wife, Brenda, who is my biggest partner and best partner for over 39 years. Just a couple of real short housekeeping things. First off, veterans. Please, would all the veterans in the audience please rise? Let's give these folks a round of applause. I especially want to recognize and to thank the Vietnam veterans. Those of you who've been here before have heard this before, but we never hear it enough. Those folks answered the call to duty, were in the military during the Vietnam War, which became a very political war. And they were not treated with the same respect as the veterans who came back from World War II or any of our recent conflicts were treated with. In fact, many times they were spit upon, cursed at. It was not what they deserved. And so especially want to thank them for answering the call of their country and doing what they said that they would do. Very briefly about counties. Yes, let's do that. I do think that over the years we're getting to know a little bit, I hope you're getting to know a little bit more about county government. Just some very brief facts. There's 3,069 counties. If you were here last year, you heard me say 368. It snowed in Alaska. It got so much bigger that they went ahead and created another county up there. What we do in some places, the reason you don't hear about us is because we're called boroughs in Alaska. We're called parishes in Louisiana, and in most of the other places we're called counties. As elected officials, we're referred to as police jurors, We're referred to as freeholders, supervisors, commissioners, and oftentimes after heated meetings, there's a lot of things that we're referred to as. We are basically the provider of your federal and state services. We record the history. We maintain the roads. It's not so much in the urban areas, but across this country, county government maintains 45% of all the roads in this country. We maintain 39% of all the bridges in this country. We operate a lot of the airports in this country. In addition, we have sheriffs who run the jails and in many places patrol. We oversee the courts in the criminal justice system and make sure that they run smoothly and in most instances do what the judges want us to do. We run the public health, and most importantly, we run the elections so that we make sure that there is an orderly and peaceful transition from one administration to the next. In our county, in Tarrant County specifically, we're very proud of the fact that we're very financially sound. We have a AAA bond rating. In the most recent bond package that we sold, we got a 1.9% interest rate. And in the booklet, we were very proud. They actually came up and read, said we were in better shape than the sovereign. And I'm told that that means the U.S. sovereign. And so we were pretty excited about that. Of course, we also understood that we don't have near the debt that they've got. We are one of the fastest growing counties in this country. We have the lowest tax rate when you look at the county and the hospital district, which your urban counties all have. We are the lowest tax rate among the 6 urban counties in the state of Texas. Our tax rate today is actually lower than it was in 1997. That does not happen because of just what we as commissioners do, but it happens because we have 68 different elected officials who all come to work every day realizing that they're spending your tax dollars, and they're very stingy with those dollars. And so that's why we are financially sound. That's why it's great to be a part of Tarrant County because of the collaboration that we have with our other elected officials within the county and the way we also work with other elected officials in this state and in this country. So with that, I'm going to step over and...
Come on over.
You sure I turn on the button?
Sure I am too. Yeah, we're there, Judge. It's going to be particularly hard-hitting, Judge, so while you're sitting down, my first question is, where's the president of the chamber, Bill Thornton, right now?
I think he's up hoping that the Horned Frogs beat the Gophers.
Yeah, I think we have a lot of folks up there.
Yeah, it's actually, my wife kids me, I went to Grand Prairie High School and our mascot was the Gophers. And she gives me a hard time. She went to Wichita Falls and her mascot was the Coyote. And, you know, we just get those little digs in every once in a while. So I understand that he and several other folks are up at the Minnesota game.
We'll blame it on him if things don't work out. We've had a year, Judge, since your last meeting, and a lot of things have happened in the county. You kind of touched on a few, but what are the significant achievements over the past year?
Well, they've got a little clock over there, and we're going to try to work on that clock.
Well, I said significant.
Yeah. One thing is rain. You know, we had May was a month of rain after many months without any rain, and that we can talk a little bit about. Facebook, in my mind, was a huge event for us, bringing Facebook in, the city of Fort Worth, folks working together on that. The other thing was the UNT-TCU announcement of the collaboration for a med school. And I want to thank you personally because I know you played a big role in getting both the parties together. And, you know, it's something that sometimes you don't see what happens behind the scenes, but sometimes without that behind-the-scenes work, things wouldn't happen. And then one of the things that, again, it kind of goes back to the collaboration. For the last couple of years now, United Way, Tarrant County, Catholic Charities, and a lot of other organizations have been working on some transportation initiatives. And one of them is a volunteer driver network. We kind of kicked that off. Catholic Charities is pretty much working that. In fact, so far we've gotten, I believe, 51 drivers There's been over almost 3,000 trips. And I'm saying that because I'd like for some of y'all in this room to volunteer. And I know that you're all busy, but you can volunteer as little as 2 hours a week. You can either use your car, your vehicle, or the Catholic Charities vehicle. They're going to train you. You don't have to worry from the liability standpoint, and I know the attorneys in the room are going to just get excited about this, but the state legislature actually has set some rules in place so that you can do that and not have to worry about risking your net worth as a result of helping. So Catholic Charities, I believe Melissa or Marissa is the person you call. If that's not the right person, ask for Casey Whitley. Daughter-in-law. Does a great job with Catholic Charities. Started off, and when we started this, she wasn't in that area, but she's now moved over to that area, and it's a great project.
Okay, you mentioned rainfall. I know you're not taking credit for all that rain earlier this year. What impact, though, does the rain have on the county, and where are we now in the...
Well, you know, be careful what you ask for. We had 5 years of drought, and in about 3 to 4 weeks, the Lord took care of that. It filled up the lakes, actually overfilled a lot of the lakes. But I think that what we learned through that process is that we still need to be very conscious of water conservation. We have got the lakes full now, and that will help us as we move forward. We just have to stay focused on that. We've got good emergency management people who work from the county's level. They work with the cities and the other folks in the region. We're blessed to be in the North Texas region where we have the North Central Texas Council of Governments, where they bring folks all together from our 16-county region and really focus on those things which we as citizens almost view as seamless. You know, we don't recognize in most instances when we leave one city and travel into the next, when we leave from one county and move into the next. And it's because either through the Regional Transportation Council, through our emergency management systems, whatever it may be, we work together as a region to try to make that as seamless as possible.
You also mentioned something about the collaboration between the UNT Health Science Center and TCU and the medical school. Talk a little bit more about that and how it impacts the county.
You know, I really couldn't be more excited. I do have a chance to serve on many boards, and one of the boards that I was privileged to be appointed to was the Board of Regents for the UNT system. And we have been looking for a number of years now at trying to add the MD school as a part of the university. That university already has the DO school, public health, pharmacy, biometrics, and allied health. And so really the missing link was the MD school. We worked and we worked. We weren't able to get that through the last couple of sessions of the legislature. And to the credit of some great folks thinking about collaboration again, we had the folks at TCU and UNT, with your help, come together and to begin to discuss, well, could we do this on a collaborative basis? And in my mind, it is truly a win-win situation. It, I think, helps TCU in that it really takes it to the next level of a university. For UNT, it helps from the standpoint of it does bring that final piece of the puzzle together. From JPS, our public hospital, I think it's a teaching hospital. And what we all should be aware of and realize is how critical it is for us to be training new physicians in this community. And the primary reason for that is because I think the statistics are around 70 to 80% of the doctors either continue to practice where they were trained or where they grew up. And so by us offering more and expanding that training and that teaching program, then we're a whole lot more likely to have have more doctors. Maybe not all we need. There's a tremendous shortage, but at least we have an opportunity, I think, to increase the number who will take care of us as we get older.
And you mentioned JPS. What else is happening at JPS? Well, there's probably a lot going on, but
There is a lot going on. You know, JPS is looking at the possibility. We were looking at a bond package for the possibility of this November. I think we've about decided that that's going to be pushed back to next year, or at least to next year. We did that through a series of town hall meetings, but, you know, I will tell you, after we started that process, that was when the UNT-TCU deal, it has been over 30 years since JPS last went out for a bond election. So when they do something, they do it in a matter of looking not just at the next 5 years, but they look out. And if we're looking out 10, 15, 20, 30 years, what we want to be sure of is that we're bringing the parties at the table that will be playing major roles in the health care. And so I hope that as a result of the announcement of TCU and UNT, that we will spend the next year not only talking with them about possibilities, bringing in the other major providers of health care in this area, Baylor, Scott and White, THR, HCA, Methodist, Cooks, that we'll bring those folks together and be sure that we're maximizing what we're going to try to do over there. And at the same time, that we will look at our clinic system. We've created what is called a medical home in South Arlington. I know that Commissioner Fickus is looking at doing one up in the northeast area. I think as the board sits at JPS and looks at this, one of the things that they're focused on is what should we be doing with our clinics. And that's going to be a big part of the role in preparing for next November.
Well, that kind of touches on growth, and I'm sure Mayor Price would agree that growth in Tarrant County and Fort Worth is beyond anyone's comprehension right now. What is the county doing to plan for this growth and to deal with it going forward?
You know, we have enjoyed, as I mentioned earlier, we're one of the fastest growing areas, and I truly believe that there's not just one reason for that, there's a number of reasons for it. It has a lot to do with collaboration, where the various levels of government work together, but it also has to do with the private sector. Casco, your forward-looking vision of knowing that the area needed to be reserved and dedicating that. The same you can look at Alliance, and a lot of the reason for Alliance's development is that because the Perot Group in Hillwood looked at and saw and had a vision of we want to help and we want to contribute. Casco has been a tremendous partner for this area for a long, long time. I can't think about Casco without thinking of a gentleman who helped me when I first started out in Fort Worth, Scott Walker. Scott was a very good friend of mine, and he was taken from us way too early, but he loved, I think, the community and what he could do, and I think it's just indicative of so many people in this room who spend their days not only trying to better their business, but really to better the community and the people that they have a chance to be with. When we look at projects, when we look at infrastructure, and by infrastructure, I'm not just referring to roads, I'm referring to water, I'm referring to transit, I'm referring to roads. It's really a 40-year look. If you think about the projects that have been completed in this area over the last few years, you think of Chisholm Parkway, you think of 161, you think of North Tarrant Express, of DFW Connector. Every one of those were 40-year projects. So as we begin thinking about the next tier, we're not thinking about 5 years or 10 years. We've got to be thinking about 40. And, okay, what's going to happen in 40? The COG does population estimates. And one of the things that we did just recently is we got the new population numbers, and we said, and we started estimating where we were going to be in the next 30 to 40 years. And we said, well, let's go back and look and see how well we did the last time we did this. And come to find out, they were a little conservative. It grew a little bit faster than what they'd anticipated. So if you take that philosophy and you think, okay, then we ought to at least believe that they're probably going to be pretty accurate in the next 30 to 40 years. then at the end of that period of time, we're going to have about doubled again. The number one populated county in this region is going to be Collin County. The number 2 is going to be Tarrant County, and Dallas will slip to number 3.
That breaks my heart.
It does mine too. It does mine too.
You know, you've been so efficient with your words. I got a text question from the mayor. She said she'd like to know if you're going to take part in the bike ride with her and with Mayor Trevino coming up.
You know, we're washing our cat that day. We'll get a cat. We've got kids. Every time our kids come home, they bring a cat. So we'll have a cat by that time.
You don't like spandex and helmets?
No, I don't do spandex and helmets. She's got me on a bike one time, and what she did is she got me down there at the old Leonard subway area. And you know what happens when you come out of that parking lot? You go up that big hill right there as you come up to Belknap. So, no, I know one of these days I'm going to get back on a bike, and it'll probably be that day when Fort Worth, if they ever do it again, beats us in the United Way Challenge. So I've got a feeling that they'll do it. The one thing I want to talk a little bit more about the infrastructure on the transportation, because it is important for everybody in this room to realize that we are looking at something 40 years out. And if the population of Fort Worth is going to double, or if the population of Tarrant County is going to double, and we're going to move people in and out, then basically we move them in and out in one of 3 ways. One of those ways is to take the existing roads that we've got and double them. Now, we just got through with that out in the Northeast, and we took our little 6 to 8 lane airport freeway and we expanded it to 16, which means that in another 30 to 40 years, we've got to expand it another 16 to make it 32. Or, and the same thing would hold true for 35, for 20, or for I-30. Or we can build a new freeway. And what that means is that in our area, it might be Harwood. In your area, it might be White Settlement. Nobody's going to like this, so don't be throwing anything, but it would be a White Settlement, or it would be Jacksboro Highway inside the loop, or it would be Vickery. It would be some of those roads. Or we can develop a more robust transit system that will move people the 2 times a day when we need to move people. There's a lot of people in here that are on the RTC, and we've gotten emails, about 3 or 4 emails. It's one of these blank emails that goes out, and my office is shaking their head because they've probably gotten about 30 more copies of that today. And the long and the short, there'll be a little message at the beginning and there'll be a little sentence at the end. The 4 points, though, that are in between say this: use our gas taxes and new funds from Prop 1 and Prop 7 to take toll lanes out of the plan. Current toll lanes we have up here is NTTA, Centra, and some of those. The one in Houston is Hectra. The estimated cost to maybe take those out and turn those to free would be somewhere between $25 and $35 billion. Make as many projects as possible non-toll now and into the future. And we're trying to do that, but one of the meetings that I was out this morning, we had the TxDOT commissioner there, and what they basically said is the legislature has done very good in the last couple of sessions of bringing $5 billion, potentially $5 billion new dollars to the table on a biennial basis. So that helps, but that's only half of what we need, because when we originally thought that $5 billion was going to be enough, we were able to do toll projects and we were able to spend money on other things and had a little bit more local control. In the recent additions of those other things, they've said no tolls, no transit, no rail whatsoever. Do not waste another dime on expanding any rail or create new rail lines, and then use funds to expand roads without tolls. Tolls increase the tax burden, without voter consent, increase the cost of everything we buy, suck millions of dollars out of the local economy, and kill jobs and mobility for the vast majority of residents. Now, everybody on the RTC has gotten at least 6 to 10 of those in the last day, and they won't hear from y'all because y'all will come, y'all will leave this meeting and you'll think, okay, maybe that sounded good, maybe I agreed, but you'll go back to your office, most of you will, and you'll wait till the next meeting and nobody will ever say anything. You need to send emails, or you make calls to say, no, we don't want that tool taken out of our toolbox, because otherwise, in 40 years, this area is going to have stopped growing because nobody is going to be willing to live, not most of the people in this room are going to be willing to live in an LA-like environment where you don't go anywhere without it taking 2 to 3 hours to move around.
That's a little sobering. We'll thank you, Judge, for your time today, and thank you for your service to the county. I will give you you actually left time on the board, so you can wrap it up.
Did you show that to the mayor?
Yeah, wrap it up, Judge, any way you want to, and thank you again for being here today.
Again, I want to thank y'all, and we might even pause a moment here in a minute and see if anybody has a question, but I want to thank you for being here. I want to thank you for investing in your community and investing in a way that not only are you a good business person, but at the same time, you also take pride in going that second mile, in volunteering your time, in working collaboratively with, I know many of you, I see many of you on volunteer boards. The success, I believe, in Tarrant County is that we collaborate together, that we work together on many different things. Government is not the answer. The mental health connection, there are a number of things which shows us that we're far better if we come together with our not-for-profit, with our private sector, sit down, address the problems or the needs that we have, figure out who might best be able to work on that or solve that problem, and then support them, not try to take it away from them. Because when we take things away from non-for-profits, private sector, or any of these types of organizations, what we do is we give those volunteers a reason not to volunteer anymore. And that's not what we want to do. We have a tremendously generous heart, I believe, in Tarrant County. And we need to find more and more ways, like the Drivers Network, 2 hours a week is all we need. And you can make a difference in somebody's life by helping them get from their home. It's really not point A to point B. It's from their home to where they need to be. And the one thing we're trying to say is we're not going to define where that need to be is. It may be going to see a grandchild. It may be going to the grocery store. It may be getting their hair done. We're not going to try to define that. And we can not have to define that if enough of you will be willing to give a little bit of your time. We'll train you. We'll help you out. If you'll call Catholic Charities and give them an opportunity to enlist you. I got 4 minutes. If you got a quick question.
Nope,
he's ready to go.
Let's thank Judge Glen Whitley.
Appreciate it.